Yeah. Testing 1, 2, test. Mary, was it Maryland store? How are you? Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Your first time here? Welcome. We're working from Gary Shafee's Patterns book, Time Functions. Now, again, I apologize about last night. I had scheduled a broadcast. However, who's this one? Devin Dutch. Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. And last night I had scheduled a lesson for 7:30. I laid on the couch for an hour. Well, that hour turned into 10 o'clock. So I apologize. And I will somehow try to make it up. Anyway, if you have this book, Patterns by the Pattern series by Gary Shafee. We're working out of time functions. What I've been doing, I have maybe 20 different symbol patterns, and I'm from the stick control book, and I've been writing rather, is page 11 plus all the combinations and then some. That will be available to my students here. But it will cost, I don't know what the cost will be. But we're going to get into the lesson in a few seconds. I'm waiting on a few other people. Anyway, if this is your first time here, I'm going to put my email in there. If you would like to be on my mailing list, just email me and I will do it. Okay? Here you go. Here's my email. Just email me. I'll put you on the mailing list. I'll send you. Hold on. So all you have to do is email me, and you will get the schedule for the week. Plus, if there are any PDFs, you will get them as well. But like I said, I'm putting a brochure or textbook or workbook together, and there will be a charge to that. So when I get it up and see how much it's going to cost, I'll let everybody know, and if you'd like, you can purchase it. Okay, let's start the lesson. Now, for the first timers, I'm into the stick control book. All my lessons. Most of my lessons, 95% of my lessons, are from the referencing of the stick control book. That's my primary source of teaching. And I've come up with combinations, substitutions, and R becoming and L becoming different things on the drum set and on the drum pad with the hands. So the level system, if you're not familiar with it, or let's see, Marilyn Storr and Devon Ducci, are you familiar with the level system? I'd like to explain it very quickly. It's the laws of physics is what it is. Everybody refers to it as molar. It's not molar. If I strike from here, I get a loud sound. It's a control stroke. I just stop the stick. And if I want to come up, I can do that. Down, up, down, up. There's the downstroke, the upstroke, the free stroke, and the tap. So you have, that's the levels is basic. I don't do a lesson right now on it. So what we're going to do is play a basic rock pattern on the hi-hat. I'm going to do it real slow, and it's going to look mechanical. But listen to the sound I'm getting. I'm getting a louder sound on the downstroke, one, and is an upstroke, it's a lighter sound. So I get this push, not that sound. So I have this. Now I'm counting that in 16th note counting formation, which is 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and so 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and now that's going to be my cymbal pattern. This is actually a money beat as I refer to it as, like a 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to play a backbeat, a heavy, strong backbeat on the count of 2 and 4. 1 E and nice and slow. 3 E and 4 and 1 E and 2 and 3 E and 4. And now what you want to do, that's right-handed. I'd like to do, I usually have another hi-hat over here, but I eliminated that for a while. There's like too many drums, too much, and it's very difficult to teach. So we're doing it right-handed like so. 3 and 4 and. Now you want to also strengthen the left side, which would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Equalize the sound. 3 and 4 and. Now, the object, excuse me, is to develop control of that bass drum against the pattern. Now, the term permutate, okay, means to move over one. If you have the Chaffee pattern series, time functions, if you go to page 11, you see that the bass drum is on the count of 1 and 3. Okay, so you have 1 E and against this pattern, 3 E and 4 and up a little faster. Boom, ah, boom. 1, 2, 3. Now try to keep a very consistent sound on each voice. That right hand, the snare drum, I'm trying to make it piercing, and the bass drum exploding, because the bass drum is the dominant voice of this particular lesson. 1, 2, 3, 4, pop, 2, 3, 4. Now let's go to permutate. Permutate means to move over one. I just played the bass drum on the count of 1 and 3. I'm going to move the bass drum now on the E of 1 and the E of 3. And I'm going to do it slow and maintain that 16th note count. It's very important that you count at this particular time. You're not trying to prove anything. You're not trying to perform it like you're in a contest or you have to prove to everybody that you can play this really well. That's not the object. The object is to maintain the balance of your voices and the control of your bass drum. Now I'm going to count in 16ths. 1 E, and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and again to the left side. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and very simple. Now, what I like to do for a while is I'll do line 1, the first one, then I'll do number 2. Back and forth, randomly. I'm not going to put any order. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was on the end. Joe, how you doing? I'm sorry about last night. I sincerely apologize. I have no way to contact everyone except through a bulk email. And what I did, I was very tired about 6, and I took a little nap, and I figured I'd wake up by 7 and get everything ready. Before you know it was 10 o'clock, and I really apologize. Now, we just did number 1 and number 2. The bass drum on the count of 1 and 3, then we permutated it to the E of 1 and the E of 3. Any questions on that so far? Yes? No? Okay, so now we had the 1 and the 3, the E of 1, the E of 3. Now we're going to the AND of 1 and the AND of 3. Again, nice and slow. 1 E and the 2 E and 3 E and the 4 and. Okay, let's play it up tempo a little bit. Let's play number 3 up a little bit. 1. Okay, now we're going to do 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. Number 2. Number 3. 3 and 4. 1 and 2. Okay, so we permutated the bass drum over to the AND. Now we're going to permutate it to the DA of 1 and the DA of 3. Now, I don't want to keep explaining, moving it over. So if you have the book, that's great. If you don't have the book, I will send you a sheet. Email me and I'll send the sheet. So now, let's go to the DA of 1 and the DA of 3. Again, slow. 1 E and a 2. 3 E and a 4. And 1 E and a 2. And 3 E and a 4. 1 E and, 2. And 3 E and a 4. And up tempo a little bit. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Back to the first one. 1, 2, 3. Second. Third. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So on and so forth. No questions, no? Okay. All right, we're going to now do number 5. I've been on a combination, so the guys that are new, I'm trying to show you what we're doing, and the guys that have been here, we'll get to the combinations in a few minutes. Okay? So, let's take number 5. It's 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4. Here we go. Number 5. Number 6. 1 and 3 and. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Okay. Number 7. 1. The bass drum is going to now be on the 1 da and the 3 da. 1 E and a 2 E and 3 E and a 4 and 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4. Up tempo a little bit. Number 7. 3, 4. So on and so forth. Okay, I want to get to the combinations, and I've been working very, very hard, putting a lot of hours in on writing this booklet. So I hope everybody wants to purchase it, not for a profit that I'm going to be making, but for my cost. Okay, before I go to the combinations, just up-and-coming events with the drum set with this page, or the pages, and the cymbal patterns. Now, that's a very common cymbal pattern, excuse me. What we're going to do next, we're going to travel between the floor tom-tom and the small tom. And we're going to make them quarter notes. We're going to go 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E. And we're going to play the hi-hat on the ands. 1 E and the 2 E and 3 E and the 4 and 2 and 4 on the snare. So what you want to do is work on that one. Nice and easy. Nice and slow rather. 1 E and the 2. And then we're going to put the bass drum in. Okay? Do we understand that one? All right, and that's just one of them. And then we're going to play straight eighth notes with the hi-hat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are up-and-coming patterns that we're going to be working with. Okay? So now, let's go to the combinations. I believe we're on combination number 28, maybe? Is that right, Joe? Did I cover that? Where did I stop? I think it was 25, 26, and 27. Is that right? Number 28? Is that where we want to start with the combinations? All right, let me start at 28. All right, 28, the first measure. Yeah, if you notice, he has a double bar line after each measure, which makes it 4/4. He's going 1 E and the 2 E and the 1 E and the 2 E and. I like to make it as 1 E and the 2 E and 3 E and the 4 E and. So, let me just do the first measure over and over again, get the feel of it, and then go into the second line. All right, if you want me to do them slow, I will. If you want me to play them a little bit faster, I will. I prefer to play them slow so you could understand it a little bit better. But here, we'll take a nice tempo. 1, 2, about here. 3, 4. Second measure. Third measure. Fourth measure. Second line. First measure. Second line, second measure. Second line, third measure. Okay? Any questions on that? Guys, talk to me. Help. I might tomorrow afternoon, about 2 o'clock, do a drum pad broadcast. Work from the Morello book or the Stick Control book. Guys, you're not talking to me. If you're not, we're going to go to number 29. And the bass drum pattern is 1 E and on the 1. It remains the same way there against this pattern. Okay, number 29. 1 E and first measure. Second measure. Third measure. Last measure, number 29, first line. We understand that? Any questions for that? Nobody's talking. No. Okay, we're going to number 29, second line, first measure. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you're following along. That's nice. How can you hear me talk, Joe, if you're following along? You have headphones. All right, let's do number 29, second line, first measure. 1, 2, there you go, second measure, first measure. Number 29, second line, first measure, or second measure. But notice that right hand is constant, that sound. It's not. Good for you, Joe. That's the sound we want. All right, 29, third measure, or fourth, last measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, a good warm-up for this whole thing, all right, when you're playing the combinations or you're playing page 11 against this pattern, is to do set a timer for 3-4 minutes and give me this. 16ths with that bass drum. 1 E and the 2 E and the. Left-handed. And do that for 2-3 minutes. That'll help that bass drum, and you have a solid bass drum. The thing is, it's not the speed. It's the overall sound. Making that hi-hat constant, that snare drum constant, and the volume of the bass drum exploding. Because with these particular exercises, the bass drum is the dominant voice. Another exercise that you would like to do to get that bass drum happening and the control between the bass drum and the hi-hat is to go into the stick control book. Okay? Now, there's a matter of interpretation here and elimination. What I'm going to do, I'm going to interpret the stick control book. I'm going to take the stick control book, page 5, line 1, and I'm looking at the line. Instead of playing it as 1 and 2 and 4, and that's how I'm interpreting. I'm going to interpret the 2 measures as 1 measure. 1 E and a 2 E and a E and a 4 E and a. And now I'm going to play all the lefts. 1 E and eliminate the right. So I'm on the E and the da. 1 E and da, 2 E and da. But now we're going to eliminate the hands for a minute and we're going to work with the pedal systems. We're going to play the bass drum 16ths as a vamp. 3 E and da, 4 E and da. Okay, so now we're going to look at line 1 and just play. We're going to play the 16ths with the bass drum constant. And we're going to look at page 5, the first measure. And we're going to eliminate the rights, and we're going to play all the lefts with the hi-hat. So the hi-hat's going to fall on 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and While I'm doing this, 1 E and 2 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4. That gives you a lot of control. The same interpretation, line 2. This time the hi-hat's going to be on, instead of the E and the da, it's going to be on the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 end. So we have 1 E and 2 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and. Four E and 1. Now, if you do this every day, just 15, 20 minutes, just with the pedal system, like this exercise, with the metronome, it's very important. And you'll see in a period of a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, your feet are going to be happening much better than what they are at the moment. So we're going to do that same interpretation. We're going to go to line 3 now. The hi-hat's going to be on and da. So we have 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. And we're going to do that, all those exercises that I'm explaining right now in the up and coming weeks, with the cymbal patterns and the backbeat on 2 and 4. It's very hard, some of them. It's very difficult, and it takes a tremendous amount of consistency. Now, there's 9 people in here, and Joe, you're the only one that's shouting out to me. Remember, guys, my email is there. If you want to get on my mailing list, just email me, and then I will add you to my mailing list. I will send you the week's agenda, the location of the lessons, and if any, PDFs. It's hot in here. Okay. Any questions so far? Because this one book, in conjunction with the stick control book, is a 20-year, maybe a lifetime journey. You want to play some funk patterns? All right, let's talk about that. The question is, do I use the Moeller stroke? Well, Sanford Moeller, let's talk about him. All right, Sanford Moeller was a really, really great orchestrated drummer. He actually studied with a Civil War drummer who was a field drummer, and they had to pound that drum because they were giving the troops the signals from the general to the drummers to the troops, attack, retreat, right flank, left flank. So they really had a pound on the drums, and they would use their hands like this. and it came to the molar system. I don't know what the hell that is. What I teach, all right, and I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to give an explanation of it, is the laws of physics. If I start my hand here and throw that stick down, it's going to come right back. Now, if I didn't stop the stick, it'd fly out of my hand and go across the room. That's the laws of physics. It's an action and a reaction. Every action has a reaction. Now, scientifically, if I throw the stick down from here to hit the drum, it's going to come back. I'm going to get a louder sound. Now, that's considered a full stroke or a free stroke. And that's a loud sound. Now, there's a whole spectrum from here to here of sound. If I want to get a much louder sound, I'm going to use an arm stroke. I'm going to come up with my arm and come down. But that's ridiculous because you're going to choke the drum. Okay, what is that? Same in the foot. That's okay. You don't have to apologize by that. It's a language, and we could all, as long as we communicate and understand each other, that's fine. I mean, I'm Italian, but I speak very little Italian. Okay? All right. Now, the full stroke. That's not molar, man. Everybody says, that's molar stroke. No, it's not. He wants to call it his stroke, fine. He don't own it. It's not molar. There's the full stroke, or the free stroke rather, the downstroke. Look how nice that is, that downstroke. Now I'm going to hit the drum from this point. It's a lesser sound. It's a tap. It's the difference, loud sound, tap. Okay? So you have free stroke, downstroke, tap, and upstroke. Out of those four movements, there's two sounds that I maintain. The full stroke and the downstroke sound the same. Full stroke, downstroke. The tap and the upstroke sound the same. Now, I don't own that. Nobody owns it. It's the laws of physics. You want to call it molar and get everybody confused? You know, my opinion, if it was not for Jim Chapin, molar system would not exist. You know, I have all these groups on Facebook, and some arguments occur occasionally, and I don't like to argue. You want to deal with it that way, deal with it. It's not molar. It's the laws of physics. Scientifically, that's how you produce the sound. For every action, there's an opposite reaction. Example, let me give you the paradiddle. The paradiddle, everybody should know the sticking. Right, left, left, left. You're going to accent the first stroke of the paradiddle. So the first stroke of the paradiddle, the first one would be a right-hand accent. The second accent would be a left-hand accent for the second paradiddle. So now, inside of that paradiddle, I have two different sounds. I have an accented note and an unaccented note. So I have here, accent. Now, I have to prepare myself to get in position for the up and coming accent, which is a left. So I'm going to come up. Look at that. That's not molar. That's science. I'm going to produce that sound from here. Then I have a tap, tap. Let me do that again. The downstroke is one volume. It's a louder stroke. It's the accent. The upstroke is putting me in position to hit the up and coming accent. And the right is two taps to maintain that sound. So the upstroke and the two taps sound the same. See that? Downstroke. Again, now I have to get in position to hit the right hand accent. Up and coming, upstroke, tap, tap. That's what you have. Now everybody uses that system, they don't realize it. Now, the question is same in the foot. I don't know molar system in the foot. If I want to hit the bass drum, boom, loud, I hit the beater hits the pad and comes back, the drum rather, and comes back. If I want to bury it, it gives me a thug, not such musical sound, but a different sound, and then I have to release it and come back. If I want to just float this way, I'm actually, if I'm going to consider this the laws of physics, I'm just doing this. With what I'm doing with my right hand is this what I'm doing with my bass drum. That's what I'm doing, my feet. I'm using it with my feet. Now there's a lot less rebound, obviously, with the hi-hat and the bass drum, so I really have to push that physically, more physical than this. If I go, that's not easy to do. Let me just give you an example here. Here's another good exercise. If you do page 5, just say, let's do 1 through 5 on page 5. The sticking pattern as written, and we're going to think of it in 16th notes. This time what we're going to do is play 16ths here. And I'm going to play the line down, the 1 through 5. 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the 4. I stopped at 5. But that's what I do. There is no, I don't have a special kind of technique, you know, plow the bass drum and bring my heel down with my toe. I'm feeding it with the toe and I come down with the heel. Toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel. That's a different method altogether. The one book that I worked out of and had numerous conversations with was Colin Bailey. Colin Bailey has this bass drum, the bass drum technique book, which is absolutely great. And I've talked to him on Skype. I've met him in California a few times, and we spoke about it. And the man, and also Joe Morello was good friends with him, and Joe Morello always complimented and always, in every lesson that I've had, always mentioned Colin Bailey. All right. Anyway, is there any questions? Because I have to end the lesson right now. I'm going to try to do a 1 p.m. lesson tomorrow. I don't know if I can or not. If not, I will be back Monday, 7:30 p.m. Now, he sure is. He knows how to maneuver that pedal, and he's very musical besides. Absolutely. He has a tremendous foot. You know, there's all kinds of exercises you can do to get your pedal systems going on. All right, and again, you know, we talked about the molar, and that's nonsense in my opinion. It's a natural approach. It's the level system, the laws of physics, and the same thing applies to the feet. Eventually, okay, if you spent enough time or as much time with the feet as you do with the hands, the feet will work for you. Your body will flow into a natural flow. Yeah, you play the heel down, toe into the pedal, and then back to the heel, toe. That's a great sound and a great skill as well. I have never really worked on it. I just do the exercises I do, and I am where I'm at now. But I'm open-minded, I'm humble, and I'm always learning. So with all that being said, guys, your first time here, please get on my mailing list. Email me, please, and I'll send you what you need. So I'm going to try, okay, to do tomorrow afternoon. I don't know. Jojo Mayer, I caught him in a clinic locally, as a matter of fact. That guy is unbelievable. And he also talks about what I just said, the molar system, as it's not really molar, it's the laws of physics. His bass drum technique, his feet technique are, as good as, or some is better, and some is better with Colin. Their technique. You got to take what works for you, and it makes you improve. Well, that's a good question, Joe. Here's the question, guys. In my opinion, do you feel with enough good practice that the feet will figure out what it needs to do? That's okay. All right. And yeah, it will. The body will adjust to what you need to get uh, the speed or the speed out, and sometimes it's not right. You're going to feel a little distress and pain, but eventually it will fall into place, just like the hands. Remember when you learned, way back when you learned how to do a stroke and rebound? I never did. Nobody ever taught me a stroke and rebound. It just came natural because I would just, for hours, go right, right, left, left, and try to get that going like that. But it wasn't easy. Okay, gentlemen, I need to sign off. I'm sorry. I will try tomorrow afternoon. If I'm not, I'm not. I apologize. And again, I apologize for last night. And hopefully it will never happen again. But anyway, if I'm not on tomorrow evening, it's tomorrow afternoon rather, I will be back Monday, 7:30, this channel. Gentlemen, if you're interested in the PDFs and what the agenda for the week is and what we're working on, email me and you will know. And I have to go back now to working on the textbook that I promised everybody I'm working on and they could have. Okay, gentlemen? Have a good night.